testare, ragazzi.
Devo degustare perché sennò si offende.
How does it work? So we have milled 250 kilogram of grain.
Yeah.
We've made grist. We then need to mash it in with water. So we use 1,500 liters of water at about 40 degrees.
Okay.
So that's about like when you have a bath at night, it's about the kind of temperature that a bath is, okay?
All right.
So what we also do is we have these which are called hot liquor tanks.
Okay.
Hot liquor tanks. And when we recycle our steam while we're brewing, so we have steam happening all the time, we then condense that steam back into hot water for the next day's brew. So we're a very, again, remember the cycle?
Yes, amazing.
We want to be as green as we possibly can.
Right.
So we recycle our water.
Anche per voi una birra. Con tutti i cibi, in ogni stagione, sempre gradita, a tutte le ore.
We have got hops,
Yeah.
barley and water.
Yeah.
What we don't have is our fourth raw ingredient, which is yeast. And
Yes.
yeast works in two ways, either at the top or at the bottom of the tank. So let's say we produce a St. Mungo lager, okay?
Yeah.
St. Mungo lager is a bottom fermenting beer, so the yeast sits at the bottom. So we prime the tank, and this is called a conical fermenter because it's got a cone at the bottom.
Yeah.
And we then add what's called the wort. So the wort is the warm water with barley and hops that goes on top. And then the magic happens. And the magic is when the yeast, which is a little organism,
Right, starts
and it
acting.
starts to eat the sugar, and then it produces alcohol and CO2. So when you were saying the bubbles,
They come all together.
they come as a byproduct of fermentation. This is called a beer filter. And basically what it does, it works.
That's why it's in the middle of the room.
Yeah, so basically no matter where we are, we just, you know, use this
Have
filter.
access to that.
And what this does is it takes the haziness, the
The
protein out of, it's not an impurity, there's
Right.
nothing impure about this beer at all.
Right.
It's only good stuff.
Okay.
But it takes it out of the beer. So basically, this is to make it just look pretty.
Mi chiedo dove prende tutta quella birra. Anch'io. E ora andate tutti al bagno.
I like the fact this is called a keg boy.
Yeah.
Because it's much better than being called a keg girl, you know?
You think so?
Yeah, because it's like, it's kind of like,
Strong girl.
yeah, strong. Well, it's also like, it makes us think that the boys do all the work, you know? Because, hey, this is the other thing. We're the only brewery in the UK that's totally run by women.
Wow.
So it's not bad,
I know the girls are gonna love this.
Not only is our beer really good.
And the boys are just enslaved to the return to work. You know, that are supposed to be.
But so there's a quite nice square off to the left here, so
Yep.
we'll go into there.
Was this area always, I mean, of course not forever, but it has been pedestrian for a while?
For quite a while, ever since I've lived here, it's been pedestrianised, but
Yep.
I think before there was traffic on it.
Wow. What do you
but
think of those? Like pedestrian areas?
I think it's a really good idea, actually.
It's great for the stores, right?
Oh, certainly. It's much nicer than being
For
constantly
everybody,
surrounded
really,
by
yeah.
cars. Yeah. The only thing I would say is that I cycle a lot, and I cycle up and down this street. But
Would it
people
be
glare
legal?
at me. Not
Yeah.
really. No.
'Cause
People
it's
glare
not-
at me
yeah.
because they don't, you know, they don't want bikes cycling on things.
Would you say that cricket is the national sport of UK, I say, not just Scotland or England, you know?
I think taking the UK as a whole, you've probably got, well, football is the #1 sport.
Oh, yeah.
Behind that, I would say in England, cricket's probably #2. In Scotland, I'm not sure what the #2 is.
Maybe rugby?
Probably rugby. I think cricket's got quite a lot of players, but because the international team isn't very successful...
the Scottish team, you mean?
Yeah, the Scotland international team.
Yeah.
Then I think when it comes to the general public awareness, it's lower in Scotland than it is in England.
Cricket, lovely cricket, at last where I saw it.
So today you will be playing a game, or are you just training?
No, today there is a game. There's 2 types of game. We play a longer game on the weekend that can last about 6 or 7 hours.
I heard there could be like cricket games that are as long as 2 days, or...
5 days. When you get
5 days?
Professional level, you can play a game that's 5 days and it can still end as a draw with no winner. It's a game that when you get into the detailed rules, there's so many intricacies, it's so complicated that that's one of the possible outcomes.
But wait, let me get this. So, well, of course it cannot be 5 days straight, like...
Yeah, well, it's 5 days, but each day...
Well, you get some sleep in between.
Yeah, it's like
one point.
8 hours of play. You get 2 breaks during the day and sleep at night, so it's not continuous.
So straight on.
Finally tonight, while many of us were falling asleep this morning, 24 cricketers at Auckland's Cornwall Club were reclaiming a world record from the Australians. Shortly after 4 o'clock, as the clock ticked over to 66 hours and 17 minutes, shortly after the players still awake allowed themselves a brief moment of celebration before getting straight back into it.
Yeah, that's the thing about cricket. You stop, have some food.
Yes.
Right?
Often it's the highlight of the day. If you go to a club that makes a really nice tea in the middle of the game, then yeah, you get hot food and...
Of course, you're not going to get a burger before you go back and play. Or you could.
Can do. We're not the most professional outfit here. We'll happily take a burger or you know, some pakora or something like that.
Right. But do you think that cricket is still like a heavy sport to play? Or not?
In terms of the skill involved and the technique that you have to learn and practice for years, it is at a high level. For pure fitness, it's not as intense as something like football or rugby.
Right.
But when you're talking about 5 days, so there was South Africa against England is being played in England at the moment. 5-day match.
Was that a 5-day?
5-day match. Boiling hot weather, and one of the South African batsmen has batted for 12 hours. You need to be so concentrated and so fit for such a long period of time, so it's a lot of stamina is involved, yes.
Yeah, the stamina, right.
You've got 2 teams, it's both an individual and a team sport. So one team of 11 is batting, but obviously at any one moment, only one player is facing the ball.
Right.
So you've got the individual contest between the batsman facing the ball and the bowler delivering it. But in the context of a team game.
Right. But is it going to be GH versus somebody else? That's what I mean.
Yes. Today we've got GHK playing against Clyde. So two separate teams from different parts of Glasgow. Playing here.
Absolutely magnificent. Tony finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup after 28 years. The parties start in the dressing room, and it's an Indian captain who's been absolutely magnificent in the night of the final.
Do they chew on that thing like they do with baseball?
Actually, what you can do if you're chewing on something with sugar in it, you can use your saliva on the ball to make one side of it really shiny, and then it changes through the air if one side is shiny and one side is rough.
Wow. So
teams have experimented with jelly babies and chewing gum and all sorts of things to get the ball to move in different ways through the air.
But so it's kind of like your opponent that needs to receive that ball, so he might be disgusted by that ball, you know?
if the opponent's got time to work out what kind of sweet you've rubbed on the side of the ball, he's got very good eyesight, I don't think.
È rilassante camminare qua.
Tutte delle piogge.
Mamma che campi che c'hanno, Gran Bretagna.
Senti il rumore, senti il rumore.
È proprio l'erba che...
Acqua.
Perché piove, dai, forse perché piove. Forse anche un po' di cultura dell'erba. La cultura dell'erba. E a Glasgow siamo andati anche a vedere la cultura dell'erba.
Qui c'era la cultura del fango, però c'era tanto così di là.